Hey fellow mamas, welcome to the Military Mamas podcast.
We're your hosts, Allison and Tara.
We are both moms who celebrate and support women who balance the demands of military service with the joys and challenges of motherhood.
This is a space for military moms to connect, share tips and stories, and inspire each other. Now let's get started with today's episode.
Hey, so we were just talking, and when I found out I was pregnant, I had no idea how the convalescent leave worked, how the maternity leave worked. Are they the same thing? I know I get some time off. How much time do I get off? How does it work? Am I supposed to go to work and when I'm in labor and then go to the hospital? Like, there's so many questions around that, and so today we wanted to talk about it with you so that you had a better idea. So at first, we'll just kind of walk you through like the process of like how it typically works. And then we'll talk about our experiences, how we kind of used our leave, because there is some flexibility with some things. But do you want to start the process?
Yeah, so when you go into labor, obviously you're closer to your due date. Your command is tracking that your spouse is about to have a baby. You're keeping everybody informed. When you do go to the hospital, you want to make sure that you let your chain of command know whether you're the service member or whether it's your spouse. That way they can mark you as like a hospitalization status or just know where you're at for accountability purposes. That doesn't mean that you have to put in leave or anything like that. When you go to the hospital, that is a completely different section of time that they're taking up basically. So just keeping your command informed is really, really important. Secondly, while you're in the hospital, you are not being charged leave or anything like that. You're technically being charged convalescent leave because you're in the hospital, either with your spouse or yourself. And then once you have your baby, normally, whether that's a day, whether you have your baby super fast, whether you're in the hospital for a few days, there could be changes if you have complications and need to stay longer. Typically C-sections, you stay longer than you would a vaginal birth by, I think, 2 days. I think it's at least 72 hours just for monitoring, because that is a major surgery. So you just want to keep your command informed. That way they know where you are, how you're doing, and just basic updates. Right. And then once you are getting ready to get discharged, that paperwork that the hospital gives you, that paperwork is what you want to give your chain of command, because that will have date and time stamped on it for when you're discharged from the hospital. That doesn't mean that they have to see all of the information on there. If there is medical information on there that you want to keep private, of course, a majority of leaders have like the HIPAA certification, which means they take a course that basically tells them that they're not going to discuss that you can discuss your medical conditions with them, or prescriptions or whatever it is. You can discuss it with them, but they cannot disclose it to anybody else. So they do have that certification, but you can also redact on, if you scan your discharge documents, you can redact some of that information as long as that date and time stamp of when you were released from the hospital is still there.
Because they use that date to start your convalescent day. So that's why it's super important. And to piggyback off what you said,
oh my God.
For me, I didn't have
it's a true Marine Corps podcast right there.
For me, I didn't have to, like, you just pop the baby out, drive over to your place of work and hand them this paper. I was able to just scan it in an email or send it to like your leader or whatever. They handle all that. And then the first day you do go back to work, you can give like your admin shop the physical paper, because they do need that at some point, but they're not going to make you come in the day you just had a baby.
Right after
hop on in here and hand me your paper.
As you're carrying a newborn in. No way. They're not going to do that.
Diapers yourself.
Yeah.
But
anyway, what a blissful time.
Oh my God.
Blissful time. But yeah, so your discharge paperwork you're going to take with you. Your convalescent leave starts the day after you get discharged. So say you get discharged on the 1st at 9 o'clock in the morning. Your convalescent leave doesn't start until midnight the next morning, if that makes sense. So day 1 is the 2nd of the month if you had your baby on the 1st. And then convalescent leave, with that, you need a doctor's recommendation, which is just something else that you can talk to your doctor about if you're If it's your spouse, then you're not going to get convalescent leave because you didn't have the baby, but your spouse did.
Only the birthing person gets convalescent leave.
Yes. And then you'll get that recommendation. So if you're active duty, you'll get the recommendation from your doctor for 6 weeks. And then you hand that into your chain of command and it goes up and it's for your commanding officer to approve, because you have to request convalescent leave with your unit. And it's your commanding officer that is the one that is going to approve or deny, but they most likely will approve it.
Yeah, so convalescent leave is separate from maternity leave. Convalescent is literally just healing, recovery, medical reasonings, versus maternity leave is more of like you're establishing a routine, you're a mom for the first time, or you have a new addition to the family. So they are two separate things. And convalescent, because it's recovery, that happens before the maternity leave. But you might have heard there's convalescent leave for all types of things. You have knee surgery, you get convalescent leave. Wisdom teeth, convalescent leave. So think of convalescent leave as your recovery leave. And like Tara said, there's 6 weeks, but if you have complications or any other reasons where your doctor recommends more than 6 weeks, again, all it is in a note, goes to your CO, and your CO is probably going to approve it because it's a doctor recommendation, and then you could have more than 6 weeks.
And if you find yourself, like if you had 6 weeks and you go back for your first visit, which is typically 6 weeks after you have your baby, and you're still having any type of complications, you can talk to your doctor and you can have them recommend whatever they think will help you if you need more time to heal, or if you need additional, if you had complications, or if something's going on at that time and you need more time, then you can talk to your doctor and get another note. And then work through it like that.
Yeah, and so that first 6 week, whatever convalescent period that you end up getting. Okay, so yeah, after your convalescent leave is over, then you can roll right into your PTAD or your maternity leave. You can do it in conjunction. So let's say you have your 6 weeks, you can jump right into your 84 days of maternity leave, which is amazing. 84 days is almost 3 whole months. And even if you didn't birth a baby or you didn't adopt a baby or whatever, and you're like the spouse, you still get the 84 days as long as you're in the military, which is insane. And that's relatively new. I know there were back in the day, there was like, you got 10 days, or the dad got 10 days.
I think it went 7, 10, or 7, 14, 21, 84. Yeah. So and if you've had a baby before, you know that it's crucial. Like that first month is crazy, the more help, the better. And when you have somebody there for 7 days, that's not enough time for a spouse to get to know the baby, or to try to get into a routine, or just to relax and soak it all in. Like 7 days is nothing. So the fact that the spouse and the birthing parent or whatever get 84 days is absolutely amazing.
Right. And I know a lot of people, like especially if you're dual military, like let's say the mom will take the convalescent and then her 84 days, and then the dad will take his 84 days after the mom's done. So that way it extends the time the baby doesn't have to go to daycare, because it'll be about 6 months by the time the baby has to go to daycare versus the 3 months. And so I know some people do it that way, which brings us to our next point is you can break up your PTAD. So after you're done with your convalescent and you're like, you know what, I want to go to work for a little bit and then I'll take my chunk of leave because this is a good time to have family over or whatever. You can do it that way. I would definitely just advise your chain of command, because PTAD over 30 days especially, you're going to need your CO's approval, like your BC or whoever, because it is such a big chunk of time and it's PTAD. So you can break it up, but do keep in mind you can't break it up into days, like as in like 1 or 2 days here, 2 days here.
Yeah, it's not leave. It's not the same way as leave.
It's a little bit more complicated. You have to take it in 7-day minimum increments. So you can take it in 7 days plus, but you can't take 5 days here, 6 days here. It has to be 7 or higher.
Yep. What else? I know I went back to work after 8 weeks. Both of my children, my significant other wasn't here, and so I'm
gonna cry
because don't cry. He wasn't here, so I broke it up because I wanted to be able to spend that time with him when he returned. So I saved my maternity PTAD to start then, and I broke it up in 7-day increments. So I'd take 2 weeks here, or 3 weeks here, or 1 week. We'd be able to take it together. We would be able to travel. And the good thing about it is you have a year to use that 84 days. Right. So if from the birth date, if you're active duty and you have your baby, from the birth date for a year, you have the time to use that. say your significant other, say you're dual military, and like my situation, your significant other is deployed or TAD or in a school or doing something. Once they return, that's when their year starts to use their 84 days. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. It goes beyond the birth date of the child, but it allows them the opportunity to have a year's time frame to use that.
That's really accommodating, actually.
Yeah. So sometimes, like, sometimes it seems like a benefit, or you're like, oh, I don't know, but getting that 6 months back, like say they're gone for 6 months when you have your baby, is extremely beneficial.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So Tara said she broke hers up. I just took mine back to back. So I had my convalescent leave, and then I let my chain of command know, hey, I am going to be rolling straight into my PTAD. So that way I could submit they actually submitted it on my behalf. So that way all the stuff gets submitted and you don't have to worry about it. You're accounted for. And because it's almost 3 months, like straight, like that's a big chunk of time where they don't have eyes on you and you're gone. And so just giving your command, I think, a heads up helps with that. If you know ahead of time, I'm taking everything, just let them know, I would say. But, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, so we think of maternity leave or PTAD as, oh, you had a baby, of course, right? But you actually can use maternity leave or PTAD for other circumstances as well. So like, let's say you adopted a child, you are allotted the 84 days of PTAD. Obviously, you're not gonna get a convalescent leave because you didn't physically birth the child. You don't necessarily need to recover, but you still get the almost 3 months, which is super amazing because I feel like almost no civilian jobs do that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it'd be cool if they did.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would come back after 3 months of not going to work.
Oh my gosh. It was so hard. Like, so obviously I'm out now, but I would do like work here and there just for like paperwork processing and all that type of stuff. But even just going back after the 6 weeks, I was like, doing my hair, traumatic. I was like, gosh, this sucks. And like doing anything postpartum, like when you have another thing to take care of, your routine changes.
Oh,
and so it's like, oh, she wants the nurse, but I have to do my hair. I've got gel on my hands. Like, let me wash my hands real quick. She's screaming. Like, what? Like, the simple things
it's a whole different dynamic.
More complicated. Oh my gosh. And I did not want to go back. Like, luckily when I went back early a little bit, because I knew I was getting out early. And so I had a little bit more motivation. Like, I'm going to work, but that's because I'm getting out in a few months. So I was like really, I had that in the back of my mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it didn't suck as much, but it was also, I went back like at 6 weeks, like right away. And so I was like, oh, like my boobs had grown so much.
Yeah.
And so like my pre-pregnancy blouse did not fit. And so I was like I could button it, but it was like, that was really questionable.
Oh, speaking of uniforms fitting, you can wear your maternity uniforms after you give birth. So if you're coming back and you still can't fit into your pre-pregnancy camis, you can still wear your maternity uniform. I believe it's up to 6 months after, and like no questions asked. So I know it might feel weird or something, like if you wear a maternity uniform and you're not pregnant anymore, but just know that that is an option. And it's to benefit you so that you can get ease back into shape instead of feeling like you have to like overexert yourself or injure yourself after you've just had a baby. You just went through a monumental change. Your hormones are all out of whack. Your body's like, everything's different. So don't look at that as a bad thing if you needed to wear your maternity camis, even if your boobs are too big.
I had to wear mine, and I felt so like, man, like on social media, like I am known for being in the gym. Like this is what I'm known for. Like obviously I got a little chunky because of like baby and stuff and all that. But I was like, dude. But I knew I was getting out, and so I was like, I'm not gonna go buy camis. No. I'm not gonna go drop $150 on a set of camis to wear for a month, like whatever. So I actually wear a pair of Derek's old camis that are too small for him. They're a little big on me, where it's kind of like, but it's not maternity camis. But like I said, like my boobs were just like too big, where it was like, I'm gonna look out of regs. Yeah. And I'd rather wear my maternity uniforms, be in regs, and just look weird or like have that pressure, you know what I mean? That unspoken, like she's in the maternity camis, like, I haven't milked.
But also like, like, you know, anybody who wants to like judge you for anything, you just human. So
Seriously.
anybody who is not like, people should be supporting you when you get back, not like up your ass blowing smoke like you just, you know, won the war, but you just did an amazing thing. And so if don't let anybody like make you feel inferior if you need to wear your maternity camis after you give birth. If that's their problem, that's not your problem.
Right. If you're trying to push it, like let's say a year or 2 years after birth, it's like, okay, maybe you might need a little kick in the pants, but
then you'd be out of breaks. Then that's a whole different conversation.
Right. But even though I knew it's like, I'd rather do this because I'd rather not have my like boobs look like they're about to bust. Like I still felt weird because I think there's just that pressure of being in the Marine Corps. You need to look perfect all the time. And so, that was one thing I definitely wanted to share was like you kind of said, like, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like you're recovering and there's until you're in that position, you can't really ever truly understand it. Like, you know what I mean? And so, just being able to, if it's through us or if it's through other friends that you might have, being able to feel a little bit of security of, okay, you know what? Like, yeah, I just grew a baby, like whatever. I think that's really important because it's super easy to get into a negative mindset of, oh my gosh, I had a baby 3 hours ago. Why am I not down 30 pounds? You know what I mean? Like it's really hard.
Or even or a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Right.
Like I don't think I got down to my pre-pregnancy weight in my first, with my first baby until almost a year. Like I was trying to prep for a PFT when I was like, oh wow, this scale says that I'm my pre-pregnancy weight. So like, I know, like we could go into a whole nother video about defining dysmorphia. I know, I want to talk about it, but it's like not even what the episode is about. But and we will. But just give yourself some grace, and you're still in regs, so don't like. It almost feels like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, but you are. So just
and you are considered LIMDU. Like once you come back from your convalescent and your mat leave, if you take it all at once, like you're still considered LIMDU up to your child's year, like birthday mark. So like there is some understanding there. Like when you're PTing, you know, there's a little bit of grace there. So it's not like you come back at 6 weeks or maybe the 3 month mark and they're expecting you to be exactly how you were pre-pregnancy. Like, all right, let's go run 10 miles. You should have shaved off 2 minutes. You had 5 months to work on it. What are you doing? Like there is an expectation. You're still on LIMDU. I would say don't try to milk it, because I think a lot of people do try to milk it where it's like, oh, I have 12 months. I've got another month. It's almost 12 months. I'm not going to prep at all, because the moment you come off LIMDU, you're definitely going to have to run a PFT or CFT or
you're
whatever
be in one of the seasons.
Like, right. So like you do need to be preparing. Like don't think it's 12 months completely off. Let me binge eat and do whatever. Like do try to get ahead of the game. Like you have a whole year. That's really amazing. And I would definitely say is take advantage of it in a healthy way, because a year you can do a lot of work, really.
And then also in saying that when you are in this LIMDU status or limited duty status, you need to like have a plan to get yourself back in, so that when somebody challenges you, because people will, you know, you're in the military, challenging is supposed to be for personal growth and not taken personally. Right. So if somebody's asking you like, oh, well, what are you doing for working out? You don't want to say, well, nothing. Or if you have a super strict first sergeant that's like, hey, we're going out for a company PT run. We're doing 5 miles. Like just keep up where you can. Those are outside of whatever, maybe you can speak to your doctor about recommendations, or if you have a solid PT plan, or if you're going to a nutritionist or a physical therapist, or you have somebody who's helping you work out. As long as you have a plan, just don't have nothing, because sometimes when you do get challenged, then it's like, oh, well, now I'm forced to go run 5 miles 3 months postpartum. That's not the way it should be. And as long as you know the order and you know how to operate and talk to your doctor and operate inside of the order, you're not doing anything wrong. And if somebody does challenge you, at least you have something to show them, like, hey, I am working, or this is how I'm waiting 6 months for my body to completely recover. And then, you know, what Allison is talking about, jumping into having a workout routine or eating, you know, changing eating habits or whatever.
Especially if you're breastfeeding, you know, you can't automatically jump into a caloric deficit, because you need to be eating actually in a little bit of a surplus to provide enough milk for your baby. And so I would definitely just say, like, keep a copy of the orders in your pocket. I know that's like, oh, that's so cringy to say, but really, because I think maternity leave and just overall postpartum in the Marine Corps especially is not very well known. So you might get a question like, why are you in your maternity uniform? So it's like, oh, actually, I didn't know if you know this, but this is in regs. I'm authorized to wear this up until this point. Like just having the information, even if you want to reference it, or if someone doesn't believe you or whatever, that's just really good to have. And you look prepared, or you are prepared. And it's like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. Like,
and it's a teaching moment, regardless of if you're first sergeant or a gunny or a lance corporal. Like if you know the answer and you can help like spread that knowledge, then it not only benefits you in that situation, but it also benefits other females that those people might come in contact with, and might be able to then spread the word of being like, oh my God, you know what? I had no idea, but I had this Marine one time that came back and she was postpartum, and she was able to wear her maternity camis because this is the order that covers that. So, you know, being tactful, and when she's saying keeping the order in your pocket, it's not a bad thing. So it's just all about like spreading the word, spreading the knowledge, and teaching each other, and really like advocating for yourself and other people that are in that situation. So
I think that was pretty, like you said, it was so hard coming back to work for the little, and I did it in spurts, and that was just hard. And like Derek was watching Esme, or he would go to work with her like the 1 or 2 times I needed him to, and it was just so hard. Like, so, and I think that could be a thing we can kind of tell people is prepare for when you go back to work, because you might cry, and that's totally okay.
Oh my God. I dropped Mac off at my oldest off at the CDC, and I literally like bawled my eyes out.
Right.
And they're like, don't worry, everybody does it. And no, everybody does it.
Yeah.
So
like, it's okay. And I think luckily I'm able to fulfill like the plan and the vision I had. But I think for a lot of the people who do want to work and like put their babies in daycare and stuff like that, I think it's a really inspiring moment that you might have to remind yourself of, hey, I'm still in the military, and like at the end of the day, like my kids are taken care of, I'm providing for them. You know, like all these, you're still doing a great thing. Like, don't feel bad, especially in the military. Like, if you do want to get out, at the end of the day, you still have an obligation. So like if you're like, oh, I want to get out, but you're like, I have 3 years, you know, you kind of have that binding you, versus like whatever. Basically, I'm just trying to say, don't feel like you're a bad mom because you take your kid to daycare or you have to go back to work. Like, so many people do it. And
you don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to. I know that, you know, I was super in love with the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
But that's because I didn't have something I loved so much more. Like, once you have a baby, and don't get me wrong, I still love the Marine Corps, but I just, it's not as much as I love my kids.
It's different.
Yeah, it hits different. And so still, like, I'm still in the Marine Corps. I'm still gonna be in the Marine Corps. I love my job. I love the people that I work with. You know, it's a great experience. I'm super blessed, like roof over my head, food on my table, all of that.
And your kids are like, Mom's a Marine.
Yeah.
They were like, damn.
Yeah. Nobody would want to come over, probably. Like, wait, your parents are Marine?
Yeah. When people hear that you're in the military, especially the Marine Corps, they automatically think you're just like drill instructor mode all the time. And it's like, nah, I'm just a cool guy.
Yeah. I'm going to intimidate the out of whoever's going to date my sons when they're older.
Oh my gosh. That's psychological warfare.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's funny. But anyway, that's all we have for today, guys. I hope you learned a little bit of something or feel more comfortable for your possible convalescent maternity leave. If you know anybody who is questioning what to do for convalescent or maternity leave, feel free to tag them in this or send them to them. We would appreciate it. And then I think that's it for now. So I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. As a reminder, this podcast is not endorsed by the DoD, and everything talked about here is just our personal experiences and opinions.
We are also not medical professionals.